Everyone. It's the evening now. I'm probably gonna go to bed soon, and I did want to try a little practice before bed. A lot of times I don't have the energy for a little practice before bed, but yeah, I want to try it tonight, especially because yeah, I think it could also help to protect energy through the night. Um, so just gonna go right to concentrating on lower dantian. Just moving my awareness to the location about 2 inches back from the navel and 2 inches down, and putting my awareness on that location. For some reason, I feel it's not easy to connect with. But I'm just putting my awareness there. It's like I'll feel it in waves. Like I'll feel not much for a few moments, and then there'll be like a pulse of sensation there, and then it'll go away for a little bit. It's kind of hard to stay with my lower dantian because the sensation is just not like strong enough for me yet. But that's kind of the thing with this practice is eventually the sensation, you know, gets stronger. That's why it's location before sensation because the even if we're just awareness targeting the location, we're still actually helping activate the energy center. And that was definitely enough to create some activation in the front pelvic center, which is definitely like the main thing I wanted to practice with was walking the energy from the front pelvic center along to the tailbone and L3 and see what we can do with that. So, moving my awareness now to the front pelvic center again, with no physical touch or anything, just following the energy flow with awareness only. Kind of the Jing energy or the sexual essence, just in its resting state. And I'm gonna move my awareness to the perineum, and again, just moving my awareness to the location first, and then going to wait for the sensation to follow. Okay, that was actually really fast. I'm gonna just retain the energy at the perineum. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna move my awareness to my tailbone. Again, being aware that the PC muscle is kind of what we're moving the energy along on the pelvic floor, and then when we get to the tailbone, there's like a connective tissue that then goes into the bone of the tailbone. So that connective tissue is like kind of an energy transformation site. So the energy can move from a state where it's passing through the PC muscle to where it's passing through the tailbone, which is like a different kind of tissue or a different kind of material altogether. So this is kind of my nuance for this. Is I'm actually trying to feel exactly where that connective tissue is that connects the PC muscle to the tailbone. That's kind of my cue to connect with that kinesthetically. Because the Jing essence is like raw, kind of like a raw energy, and it has to get refined at several stages so it can properly pass through the spine. So this is one of them, and the energy is really following my awareness really well. As soon as I move my awareness, the sensation followed pretty much immediately, so that's awesome. Very encouraging. I'm going to put my awareness on the middle of the sacrum, and the energy follows nice and quickly. And that just shows that the energy is getting more responsive to our awareness, and the meridians are getting more open. So that is all very encouraging stuff. I'm going to move my awareness to the top of the sacrum. I always feel a lot here, just at this point at the top of the sacrum where it's transitioning between the sacrum into the L5 vertebrae and the lumbar spine. I don't know exactly what this point is that I'm feeling, and it's not actually a point that um, is specifically in the textbooks in terms of like major points on the spine meridian. But that's why it's like good to have a relationship with your own body and your own practice, because sometimes even though it's not a point that is indicated in the textbook when it comes to the spine meridian, usually people talk about L3, T11, T7, C7, and the brainstem and the tailbone. Um, but like if it's a point that comes up in your practice, then it means something you know in your system, and it's up to you to feel into that. And I'm going to try jumping my awareness up a little higher. I'm just going to sort of think about the current location and then just try to project my awareness a little bit higher. Yeah, it won't really work. It won't really work. This is a point where I cannot force the energy through. I'm feeling impatient with it, but this thing on the top of the sacrum, it just needs time to, you know, spend time at this transformer stage, at this refinement stage, and the energy will flow when it's ready. But yeah, I can't just force it. Okay, there's a little something starting to light up in the lumbar spine, and it's very genuine. It's very much the kind of thing that I could not make happen. Um, it's like I have to know my job in the process, and I have to know, you know, what is the energy's job. And certain things, I'm not going to be able to force them. I'm not going to be able to make them happen. Just have to have my role in supporting the process. And then the things that I can't make happen when they're ready and they're really amazing. Because, like we were talking about earlier, when the energy is in the right state, it'll show you the way into the spinal cord. Because there's so many different parts of the spine, the vertebral discs and the spinous processes and the whole vertebrae, left side, right side, and the muscles around the vertebrae. And you can awareness target all of those a little easier. But if you really want to get into the spinal cord, which is really where like the deepest energy flow takes place in the spine, that is something that you can't just like force your way into the awareness targeting the spinal cord. Like your energy body has to like show you when the time's right. Well, that's very good. I'm gonna actually try something different. I'm gonna go back to the navel and then probably bring the energy around like one more time through this pathway, just to keep on like sort of conditioning my energy body to send the energy through this pathway. Um, so yeah, back to concentrating on the navel. Yeah, I definitely got to work on that. I mean, it's just I don't feel a lot of sensation in the lower dantian. Um, got to keep working on it. But I did feel some energy kind of drift down to the front pelvic center, so I'm going to follow that there. Then I'm going to move my awareness to the perineum. That's great. The energy followed very readily, and that is a really encouraging sign. Moving now to the tailbone. And again, the energy just followed very readily. So, this is great to just, keep on getting practice, just, you know, moving the energy from point to point. Whoops, some energy drifted back to the perineum, so I'm just going to refocus on the tailbone. Yeah, for some reason, I'm always scared it's not going to work, but it always ends up working. The energy is kind of moving up the sacrum on its own. Hmm. Yeah, I'm feeling it in like the middle of the sacrum. And I think that maybe I need to stay with it here to help it get ready to move to the top of the sacrum. So I kind of stay with it here in the middle of the sacrum. There's a lot there. There's almost actually a little bit of pain. I don't know what that means, but it's almost a little bit of pain. Okay, so it seems like the energy is actually stalling there. I didn't notice that last time through. I thought it was stalling at the top of the sacrum, but it's actually kind of stalling in the middle of the sacrum. Almost kind of burns a little bit, or there's a little bit of pain. I'm going to try to massage the area um, on the like the surface of the sacrum a little bit, just to see if that helps. I don't know if that really helps. I think a lot of times, like physical um, stimulation of the energy centers can be more of a distraction because, like, feeling physical touch um, is like easy. It's easier to feel physical touch, but then it's like it can just get superficial and it doesn't always enhance the perception of subtle energy. So, yeah, just gonna stay with the subtle energy. And I'll probably end practice here, just sort of a brief pre bed practice, just to get in some repetitions and um, yeah, help to protect the energy overnight, help to kind of transmute some energy before bed. Really looking forward to when the energy will flow more freely up the entire spine. Um, we'll get there. We're just in the process of, certain, you know, places in like the sacrum, for example, that are still need to fill up with energy. Like the spine has to fill up, you know, it has to fill up at the sacrum to move up to the lumbar spine. It has to fill up at the lumbar spine to move up to the thoracic, etc. Um, so right now it's just filling at the sacrum, and it just takes time for the sacrum to fill and activate. Sometimes it feels like a little bit of a loss of progress because I was getting to L3 um, for a few sessions there, but I feel like it's not really a loss of progress. It's just like, yes, I was making it to L3, but maybe that was, um, maybe now there's like, the sacrum needs to activate a little more thoroughly before the rest of the spine can go. So, yeah, just not going to be discouraged about that. Just going to stay consistent. I will do a little spinal cord rocking because I have heard that Monta Chia say that the spinal cord rocking helps the energy move up from the sacrum. So I'm just going to do that. I'm kind of feeling the energy point in my sacrum. I have my awareness on my sacrum while I do this. Yeah, maybe it's just time for bed right now. But thanks for being here for this practice. I hope that it helped you with something. Maybe the briefer video will maybe be helpful because I think the 2 hours and more videos are probably um, maybe feel a lot for most people to click on. Um, so if some of these practices turn out to be closer to like 15, 20 minutes, maybe people will be more have an easier time clicking on that. Not that I'm really trying not to do like any marketing or any kind of like self promotion or anything in terms of like I'm just putting out what I put out. I'm just making what I make. Like however long the videos end up being, that's just me. I make long videos. Um, so I'm not trying to like filter myself in any way to like people please or anything. Um, anyway, I don't want to get into that narrative. Thanks for being here today, and see you tomorrow for more practice. Thank you.